And with that, thank you guys. I am Spike Vachita, and I will hand it over to Zach. Good luck, man.
All right, we have a donation from Josh105 for $100. Hearing all these other people with family that lost their pet with cancer makes me grateful that my mother survived. Let's make this illness a thing of the past. We have $100 from Radio Yuki, who says, "Love this event. Keep up the great work." $100 from Zeiss, who says, thank you for all for doing this, and most of all, keep having fun. We have $25 from Ed, who says, thanks to everyone taking part in AGDQ. I'm 17 and my mother passed away yesterday due to cancer. Hope the donations keep pouring in. Cancer sucks. We have an anonymous $100 donation that says, the inevitability of cancer's demise is only reinforced by the efforts of your amazing speedrunners. Keep up the awesome work and kill those time-wasting animals.
There you go. Test. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I think.
I can hear you. Gwimpage, say something.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi. This sounds weird. I can hear myself. I don't know.
That's good.
You get used to it.
Yeah, fortunately, there's no delay when you can hear yourself. That's when it really gets tricky. I've had to do that. Yeah, I think so.
Good luck.
All right, so I'll count down from 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Fire Emblem.
Woo!
All right. No better way to get a game started off than with the time-wasting prologue. Let's go.
So this game is being run in Japanese. There's a few major key differences. There's a bunch of difficulty differences, and Gwimpage is running this on the normal difficulty.
The other differences, for the most part, we'll get to later. You saw a few option settings. The key things there are...
Test?
Okay,
there we go.
the key things there are basically just turning off time wasters, like the battle scenes that are nice and fancy, but they're significantly slower than just these animations that you see here. Fast text speed and the like.
So this is kind of a training chapter. It teaches you how to move your character, or that you can heal, or use items, and you can have Ike beat his father. The plot is basically Ike's father is training him up to be a mercenary. So...
And no, there is no way to skip this.
Unfortunately. Although you do get nice experience for it, so
XP, something.
it helps.
Let's see this level up.
Nice. Ooh,
Nice.
Not bad. No saving, really?
No saving.
So this next chapter introduces Titania. She's kind of what people call the Joggin of the game. She's a pre-promoted unit that starts with really high base stats, and she has very high movement because she's a paladin. So
Yeah, the way promotion works in this game, you get a number of levels. If you get to at least level 10, then usually, depending on the game, you can use like a seal in order to promote. In this game's case, if you get to level 20, then the next level you just automatically promote.
Except for Ike.
Right.
And certain
Ike
other
has
units which we don't use.
he has a story-based promotion at chapter 17.
Right. But so usually you start off like a pre-base level unit, and then you have to work your way up to the promotion. But Titania is already promoted, and so she is notably stronger than everyone at this point in the game.
Considering she just killed the boss in one round of combat.
Yes.
So Oscar visited the left village. He got a Seraph. The Seraph is an item that permanently increases your HP by 7, which is going to be important later on. So this next chapter is a route chapter. Yeah, it's a route chapter. So route chapters are chapters where you have to defeat every enemy unit to clear the chapter.
In other words, they're a speedrunner's bane.
So basically, most of our units are stored a week. So we're going to have them turtle up a bit and kill a few enemies that are in the corner until Titania arrives.
Yeah. FYI, this game has this thing called the weapon triangle. So basically, lances are better against swords. Swords are better against axes. Axes are better against lances. The sword user just hit the lance user, and the axe user just hit the sword user, so that's pretty bad luck.
Yeah, so when you're facing a weapon triangle disadvantage, you lose 15% accuracy, and you deal 1 less damage, and the opposite is true if you're on the winning side of the weapon triangle.
Let me dodge the sword, why not?
Yeah. And of course,
I
if
had
you use the
some
same
bad
weapons,
luck.
there's no weapon triangle thing bonus.
The sword user actually rolled 1 more HP than usual.
Oh, I knew it! I knew it was gonna happen!
Yeah, he rolled 19 HP.
Oh, that is
He
fantastic.
just avoided a 2-hit KO from Oscar.
Yeah, that's one of the things that can happen in this game because unlike some games where enemies are just static, not only are there a few certain levels where there are slightly different enemy loadouts and layouts, their stats are also ever so slightly random. It's not a terribly significant difference. It's generally 1 or 2 points at most, and the 2 points are really only once they start hitting high levels. So it's an occasionally trolly thing that will come up.
Alright, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got.
Oh, no strength.
Decent. I don't think he's got his strength up yet. That's not
Yeah.
good.
So kind of a quick overview of the stats in this game. HP is your health. There's a strength stat. The higher your strength, the more physical damage you deal. Every unit also has a magic stat, which is the magic version of strength, which is usually pretty useless for physical units. Speed determines your avoid, and also if you have higher speed, then at least 4 more points of speed than your opponents, you're going to double attack them, which is why Titania is double attacking everyone.
Boom, counter!
Counter.
Abilities,
Counter.
we'll get to those
Yeah.
in a bit. First, finish
So
explaining
skill
the
is another
stats.
stat that increases your critical hit rate and your accuracy. And then there's defensive resistance, which is the higher they are, the less damage you take from physical and magic attacks, respectively.
Did
and
you
then
say
there's
luck?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot that. Luck is kind of a jack of all trades stat, where the higher your luck, the more your hit rate, dodge, and critical dodge increases, but not by much. Not as much as skill and speed affect the respective stats.
And in this chapter, you see a couple different units, Shinon and Gatri. Shinon is an archer type, which, they can only attack at range, but he also has the skill Provoke, which means enemies like to attack him. Skills are things that each character can have. You saw the counter that Titania had. It's a percentage equal to her skill each time she takes damage of activating. We don't really want it because it slows things down. But now you see these guys attacking, and a couple of them are attacking Shinon. That's exactly what you want here because it saves animations because he can't counterattack.
Yes, you see, Shinon, as an archer, can only attack indirectly, so 2 spaces away from him. In addition, Shinon has this, a skill called Provoke, and so enemies are more likely to target him, and they're already really likely to target him because he's an archer. But that's actually fantastic because he has way more defense than he probably should and really high evasion.
Yeah, Kirby mentioned Titania having a higher level and stats than most of the other characters you're quote-unquote meant to be using.
That's a tasteless crit.
Nice. That's also true to a lesser extent of Shinon and Gatri. Gatri to the least extent of the 3. And so he's much bulkier and deals a lot more damage.
Why not?
Wow. Okay.
Marsha going all in.
So that unit up there is Marsha. So normally in the game you have a player phase and an enemy phase, and there's a third phase called the other phase, which are kind of in units that kind of are on their own. Marsha, you need to have Ike talk to her in this chapter because she's going to become a very important unit throughout the rest of the game. So in order to recruit her, you have to have Ike talk to her and then have And then a few chapters later, she comes to talk to Ike, and then you recruit her there.
Yeah, typically if there's like a character you can talk to on the map, you can recruit them right then and there. But Marcia is really special for some reason and just decides, nah, not doing it yet. You're not good enough for me. And then
Yeah.
so you have to wait a couple chapters.
The fortunate thing about Marcia in this chapter is that she has essentially no chance of dying by the time you get to her, so it's pretty safe.
Titania has a small chance of missing here. Okay,
Okay,
phew.
good. I missed that in practice earlier.
So Gatri visited a village in the bottom right corner. He got an elixir. Elixirs are the same thing as vulneraries, except vulneraries only heal 10 HP. Elixirs heal all of your HP, which are
Right.
pretty important later on.
Yeah, and just to clarify, Gatry isn't actually pre-promoted, he's just like a higher level.
Yeah.
It's like level 10 or something.
He's a
Yeah.
class of a knight, and knights are generally high strength, high defense unit, but they have very low speed and mobility.
And we got Soren on this map. He's a mage, so magic is kind of interesting in this game. There's 3 types of magic: wind, electricity, and fire. Sadly, we don't use magic too much in this run, but basically wind has an advantage over flyers, fire has an advantage over lagoos, which we'll see later, and electricity has an advantage over
Dragons.
dragons, right?
Yeah, there's also a minor weapon triangle involved in that between the different schools of magic, with wind being strong against thunder, thunder being strong against fire, and fire being strong against wind.
I never remember it because it becomes kind of irrelevant.
It is kind of irrelevant. It's basically like,
Why would you use a mage to attack another mage?
yeah,
Yeah, it's
you
usually
should
happen.
whack them with something sharp and metallic.
So in this chapter, the goal is to defeat the boss. So what Gwimpage did is take advantage of the fact that Shinin is a sniper and has provoke, so he put him in the middle of a bunch of enemies. So he's going to be surrounded by 1-range units. And then the boss is going to actually attack Shinin at 2-range, meaning Shinin can counterattack him. And the boss actually moves near the end of this turn right here. And then on the start of the second turn, he can use Titania and Shinin to finish off the boss.
Yeah, and those 3 shrubs by the rest of the team are actually necessary to reach this, like, the boss's range. Shinin can chip on enemy phase, and it's actually enough for Titania to finish him off for the boss kill. And I only need to kill the boss on this map to complete it. I don't need to kill anybody else. And with this formation, I can actually keep Titania's pathway clear.
Come on, Shinon, critical.
Crit, crit, crit.
I think the only way he could die is by a double crit.
That would have been epic.
It's happened before. But yeah, Shinin is a sniper, so he's a promoted archer. And snipers, I think this is the first Fire Emblem game where snipers get a crit bonus.
Yeah,
That's pretty
it's
nice.
not present in the Japanese version though, but
Oh, okay.
it's a thing on the North American version of the speedrun.
Yeah. So do the upgrades of Myrmidons, Swordmasters, and but the Berserkers, not warriors. There is only one Berserker in this game.
And one warrior.
Yeah. And you won't really see them at all except for one round of combat.
It is a glorious round.
This is the first of a few defend chapters.
Unless he misses.
Yeah, well, that'd be hilarious.
And the strategy for this is pretty interesting because normally in defend chapters you just turtle up and spam enter, and you kind of do that near the end of this chapter, through the second half of this chapter. But
Breeze.
yeah, what Gwimpage is doing is moving a lot of his useless units to the side, and then he puts Shinin in a position such that on turn 2 enemy phase, a bunch of archers are going to attack Shinin because he has provoke. He's unequipped right now, so he's not going to counterattack them. Then later, he's going to move Shinin out of the way, and those archers will stay adjacent to Ike, Titania, and Gatri. So they're going to be blocking the way for all the 1-range units to get into place. So there's pretty much going to be nobody attacking the rest of his units starting from turn 3, I think.
And yeah, the AI in this game can be smirked.
Yeah, like, you want to, if in that situation, you want to move the archers out of the way so your 1-range units can go in, but the AI can sometimes not be very smart.
Nice base healing.
And using a vulnerary here just so it doesn't happen on every single turn.
Something weird about the English version of this game is that Ike starts with 4 iron swords, I think.
Yes.
But he doesn't here.
You never have too many swords.
Yeah.
It's a NA version only thing. I
Yeah.
believe they fixed it in the PAL version. So it's just, I don't know. I think 4 iron swords spawn randomly if you decline the first tutorial for whatever reason.
So you'll notice that archer just moved right in front of Ike. Now, the archer cannot attack Ike, who needs to be taken out in order to, for them to win the stage. So logically, on this enemy turn, you know what's going to happen.
Yep.
I mean, there can only be one possible outcome here.
all these
Hey.
enemies are going to pile up on these archers and just straight up be unable to target anybody for
Hey,
the
Archer,
rest
you're
of
kind
the
of in the way. What are you doing?
All right.
Yeah.
Could probably read a donation, maybe. This would be a good time.
Yeah, one or two maybe.
Yeah, one donation.
Well, you have $50 from Ownage Puffs. Hey, Gwimpage, it's Puffs. Best of luck with your run, man. Path of Radiance may move as fast as Benoit's speed growth, but I love it all the same. Put this towards runner's choice. Soth hype, Rolf hype, 255 crit hype, save the Lagoos.
Right. So this chapter, story-wise, you're trying to sneak past a bunch of enemies. So there's no enemy phase until a single unit is outside the forest. So he's going to rescue a bunch of his useless units and kind of tuck them in a corner, and then have Titania kind of sneak around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to stay hidden until like we absolutely need to.
And he's going to surprise his archer, this poor little archer, and just slaughter him. So there's a mechanic here called rescuing that was introduced a while back in the past few Fire Emblem games. Rescuing is when you have a unit carrying another unit, and the carrying unit, when you rescue someone, their speed and skill are halved. But the
Right.
fact that Titania is still double attacking all these enemies shows that how
Right,
OP she is.
she just double attacked
Myrmidon.
Myrmidon, and Myrmidon's supposed to be like all speed. So
Yeah, another thing though, early game, a lot of times the enemies have heavier weapons than they can effectively use, and so they are actually taking speed penalties. That's a thing in this game where your strength determines whether or not you take a speed penalty. If you have a weapon with a weight of 10 and you have a strength of 9, you take a 1 speed penalty, for example.
And the speed penalty takes into effect for pretty much all of your combat calculations.
Yeah. And going back to the story very briefly, they've also found a princess. They're fleeing the nation that is being attacked by the guys with the red circles around them day in.
yeah, you know they're evil because they have red circles around them.
Yeah. And shenanigans will ensue.
Man, you got lucky that Titania got that one strength. Right? Yeah, so the goal in this chapter is to escape, which is kind of an interesting objective. You end the chapter if Ike reaches that yellow square, but you can have other units escape and get extra bonus experience, which we'll get into that later. But it's not really worth it here, so we're just gonna run away.
Yeah, it's much faster to leave them up in the forest.
So this is one of the worst chapters in the game.
For real, this is
This is a route chapter.
It's also one of the more entertaining ones to watch, though.
Not to do.
Exactly. They're not always the
See,
same.
like, notice how that soldier barely got killed by Titania, because she did 13-13. So this is a chapter where, like, random enemy growths really play a
nice
major
level.
factor. It's a really good level up, wow. Really lucky. General strategy is he's going to move pretty much all of his non-Titania units to the upper right area to clean up a few enemies up there. And Titania is going to go to the lower left corner to kill everything here.
Yep, and I just moved Oscar into an important spot. There's actually various trigger lines scattered throughout the map, and if any of your units pass them, it triggers an event. And that event spawns a ton of reinforcements, and it's also spawned Shinin and Gatri to spawn.
Ooh, nice hit.
Oh, 2 damage.
So a lot of reinforcements also come from the bottom left corner, and I want these guys to spawn as soon as possible while Titania is still in the area, since I don't want to backtrack.
So the green unit there, her name is Mia. She's a Myrmidon that joins your party. She's not going to be very useful, but she has an ability called Vantage, which is an ability where it triggers during enemy phase, and you always attack first. Normally, when you're attacked by an enemy, they attack first, and then you counterattack.
So Mia is very gregarious. Usually you have to be the one to talk to the unit, but she actually just talks to you like directly. Which is actually pretty nice. 'Cause it saves you some time.
Yeah, and there you saw Boyd hit with the axe. That's the one time you'll see an axe user like that used in this game, in this run.
So it's competing. No, wait, sorry. Soren's competing. Oh,
We've
nice
dodged.
dodge.
Too.
So Soren's a pretty
Nice,
slow character
nice.
at this point, so it's kind of rare to see him dodge.
He's got a really high speed grip, though.
Ooh.
That's actually a bad crit, because I want Oscar to kill this dude. Oh, never
Well,
mind.
he will.
He did, though.
I can't do math.
Oscar just got a chest key, which will be important later on. When you get a chest key, you can use it twice to open treasure chests, which will be important later on in the ship chapters, I think, when you want to open a lot of treasure chests. So we just got Shinin and Gatri after Gwimpage passed the trigger point with Oscar. They're going to be cleaning up some of the enemies in the upper left corner because Titania is busy with the lower left area. So the roles they're going to be playing is Shinin, while he can't really counterattack anything on enemy face, his offensive stats are good enough to the point where he can reliably kill everything that's not a knight during flare phase. And Gatri will weaken other enemies for him so he can pick them off.
Yeah, now would be a good time for donations if there are any.
All right, we have $120 from Hellsage. Good vibes to all the runners AGDQ this year. Watching from home with my brother that beat cancer 3 times separately.
Hey, good job, dude.
Let's keep up the destruction of childhood memories, save some lives, and save the animals.
I love how slowly he dies. Yeah. It's like you attack slow enough, but you also have to like
nap animation
dramatically put your health back and then like put your knee down and then fade away. Jeez.
And I like how the knights have this animation where you go like, ugh,
Yeah.
all the way. It's the
Oh
clash of
man,
the
knight
versus
versus
knight.
knight.
Night battle.
The most epic of battles. Wow, he's so slow he can't even double hit a knight. Awesome.
Oh, no damage. As we mentioned before, Gatri has pretty high stats for his level, so while his speed is kind of not very good, he has pretty high strength and defense.
There's a thief there. Occasionally you see enemy thieves and they'll try to steal chests from you. Take them before you can get to them. But in this map, it's only important to kill it for the clear.
Yeah,
The
and
win
he's
condition.
not aggressive, so he won't chase after any of my units to try like attack and kill them. He'll just run for the chests.
Oh, that's soldier.
So generally, in a lot of route chapters, you want to aim for enemies that aren't going to target you during enemy phase, and that thief is one of those. Because you want to kill as many enemies as possible during enemy phase, but if you don't grab after units that don't attack you, like that thief or maybe healers, which there's one at the top, then you have to waste an extra turn going out of your way to kill them. So you want to prioritize killing those during your player phase. Ooh, 6 damage. But I think that guy has a steel blade.
He has to.
He actually has an armor
Wait,
slayer.
wait.
Slayer.
He
Oh, he's an
double-
armor slayer. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, he double hit the Myrmidon, but he can't double hit the knight.
The Marmorda has an armor slayer,
He
which are
has
really
an
heavy.
armor
Okay,
slayer,
he's
which
weight
is
down,
like,
okay.
it's like weight 20 or something absurd.
It's really heavy.
So that guy had no speed, basically.
Think.
We have $100 from 10-digit number. Hello guys, I've lost too many relatives to cancer, and I've been a frequent donator to GDQ events since 2012. Though I want to say it has been say it was since its inception. Fire Emblem Path of Radiance is also the first game that got me into Fire Emblem, so seeing it beaten so efficiently is a treat to say the least. Donating towards Kingdom Hearts 1.5 Sephiroth fight because the final mixed low-level mega boss fight, insane. Definitely want to see it.
Well, that is definitely an incentive you want to donate for.
Yeah, it's also
Very
the first
impressive.
Fire Emblem game I played.
My first one was Fire Emblem 7.
Same. Fire Emblem 7 was my first.
Sacred Stones was my first.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
I'm sorry.
Dude, I love Sacred Stones. Just level up.
Oh, he's level 9, not 10. Okay.
Wait, that's speed, right? What is that
No,
skill?
He
it
got
goes
skill.
HP, strength, magic, skill, and it's speed, luck, defense, resistance.
Okay. I can't read Japanese, so I'm just going
No,
off of memory.
I can't either.
I just have their locations memorized because
Yeah.
I never try to read it when I look at the numbers as they fly by.
Alright, this knight's kind of like,
Dang, that
he
knight has
shows
some
you
defense.
how annoying enemy stat variance is.
He probably
because
got like 1 extra defense and 2
Yeah.
extra HP or something.
Yeah.
You can sometimes one round him, and if he rolls like even like 1 more HP than usual, like you just can't kill him in 1 round.
So the enemies that Titania are next to, they're stationary. They will attack you if you're in their stationary range, but they're not going to move.
Yeah, and the one that he killed earlier, the
Looks like
cleric
Titania's
looking
being
guy.
threatened by the boss.
Oh no, 5 damage.
Yeah,
10, 16.
that healer
Yeah, okay.
will not attack you, so it's faster. You have to kill it, and it can also waste time by healing these guys if you don't manage to kill them.
Yeah, so even though he took out the boss, the stage goes on because this is a route chapter, so you literally have to take out everything.
So what Titania just got there is the Mage Band. Bands are kind of an extra feature in this game that are kind of they're unlocked when you play on a file that has been completed before, and they boost your stat growth by a little bit when you equip them.
Yeah, 5% each, except for the Mage Band, which is a 10% for only one stat. All the rest of them add to 2 different stats.
Yep. The reason why they're so good is because they sell for a lot of money, and you get them in bulk.
Yeah, you get a lot of bands over the course of playing through the different stages. The Pirate guy a couple maps ago had the Thief Band, and a couple of the characters start with them already, and so on.
Oh, spoiler alert, Grail just died.
Yeah.
Ike's dad.
Wow.
Ike's dad is dead.
Yeah.
In the cutscenes that you're not seeing because this is a speedrun.
Right.
and you
All
have
right,
to go
bases
fast.
time. Who wants to go over bases?
Okay, so bases, starting from here on out, at the start of every chapter, you enter your base, and this is where you can manage your items, skills, and something called bonus experience, which you mentioned before. Bonus experience is something you get from clearing chapters or clearing extra objectives, clearing chapters quickly, and you can pretty much feed experience to your characters directly. So what he's going to do here is to level up Ike as much as he can, because Ike needs a lot of experience to complete the role he needs
Reset. That was a horrible
chapter.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to reset there. That was a terrible level up. But
Yeah, there's also you get a little bit more bonus XP from not filling all the slots in your party, which you now have the ability to do
That was
from this
good.
point on.
Finally, some strength.
And
Yeah. For this map specifically, you get more bonus experience by not deploying extra units. Not too certain on which other maps that qualifies for, but for this map, I want to avoid deploying as many people as possible. So I'm just going to bring the minimum amount.
I guess this is a good time to mention what fixed mode is, because we were kind of joking about that.
yeah.
So when you beat the game, similarly to how bands are kind of an extra feature after you have a file, the cleared file, you can play the game between random mode and fixed mode. Random mode is what the game defaults to, where your stats are completely random down to the RNG. But fixed mode is when your level ups are generally predetermined. So most of the all the levels you see will pretty much always be the same.
And one thing that's worth noting here is that Ike has a weapon equipped called the Regal Sword. It has a little bit more strength than an iron sword, roughly on par with a steel sword in most regards, except for 2 key things. First, the lesser of them is that it has like a plus 10% boost to crit chance. More importantly, it deals a lot of damage to mounted and armored knights. So that allows Ike to clear these cavaliers down to the south, gaining extra experience, which makes up for the fact that he has a few extra characters out, so he's not getting bonus XP. But this, in turn, allows him to do a couple manipulations to drastically reduce the number of times that enemies will attack him during this stage.
We mentioned that we want to avoid as much combat as possible. In this specific scenario, we're having Ike kill all of these cavaliers because we need Ike to get some extra experience, since we're going to be short on bonus experience otherwise.
Yeah, and we also need to kill these cavaliers because they have Canto, and if I just leave myself unequipped and let them like wail on me repeatedly, they're gonna waste a lot of time at each turn, so I need to get rid of them as soon as possible. 2 of those mounted units actually have javelins, and they can attack from 2 range. I can't counterattack from 2 range, so I had to trick them into forcing their friends to attacking at 1 range. So I was able to kill all of them on 1 enemy phase.
So what's going to happen here is you see an archer going up to attack Soren because he's unarmed. Similar to what you saw before, he's going to move Soren out of the way, and that archer is going to stand at that spot, and no one else can reach Oscar. So all the units on the left or side are just going to kind of pile up. Eliana's going to kind of chill there, being hungry.
Yeah, she's the second mage that you can recruit, Soren being the first one and mandatory. Soren's a wind mage, she's a thunder mage. Thunder magic is unique in this game in that it has the highest damage, lowest to hit, but also the heightened crit rate. So that's going to be useful later on.
So how are you going to manipulate it to recruit Ileana?
Is there some kind of glitch to get Ike over to the left side?
I wish.
Yeah,
Oh
like
yeah,
a
no,
wall
just
clip
save
or
all
something.
the time. She's just so good.
I mean, come on, this is just like SM64, the game before this, right? Just like BLJ through the wall or something.
All right, so this is just I mean, the chapter's been going on for a while now, but this is a defend chapter, so we can't end the map early by attacking boss. So we kind of have to wait it out. So now would be a good time for donations.
Okay, we have $75 from Martin Thresher, also known as Some Jerk from Boston. Hello, Martin. He says, behind every cancer treatment protocol, there's a ton of people collecting and analyzing data. I lost a lot of people to cancer. Now I'm one of those people between the doctors and the statistician that allow the science of cancer research to work. Good luck to everyone, and remember, we can do great things, but we have to kill the animals. $20 from Poldu. Been looking forward to this game all day. Let's shoot for 100,000 during the Path of Radiance. Good luck, Gwimpage, and let the RNG be merciful.
Even if Titania gets hit, it's not really that big a deal because they're not going to do that much.
Yeah, she can get hit every turn and still not die. These knights' damage output is
So something
pretty
we
low.
something we forgot to mention is that the Regal Sword is also. I think we didn't mention that the Regal Sword is also super effective on armored units.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
What does super effective mean?
So when a weapon is, I mentioned that wind magic is effective on hawks and arrow units and stuff. So when a weapon is super effective on a type of unit, its might is doubled. So the Regal Sword has 7 mights, but when you use it on an armored or a horse unit, then it's going to have 14 mights. So you deal 7 extra damage.
It's not as pronounced with magic. The might of the magic, and I love that I can say it that way, is generally significantly lower than the weapon's might. So, for example, a basic wind tome has a might of 1. So you cast it, and you'll only get 1 extra damage.
Oh my god, it's super effective. You deal 1 extra damage.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So Gwimpage just removed counter from Titania because counter is a waste of time. That's pretty much the main reason.
Well, so from what I understand, counter, you get hit by an enemy, and there's a chance that you'll do half damage back before you do your regular attack, which kind of sounds cool at first until you realize that if you have high defense, that means like nothing.
And Titania has high defense, so. Ooh. So, what was that weapon you forged there, named Jagan?
I don't know.
What was the 255 we saw?
Yeah, that's one of the big things about the Japanese version of
Wow.
this game.
Dang, you're getting really lucky.
Titania's angry.
Slim weapons and thunder tomes as well. So slim lances, slim swords, and thunder tomes all have a base crit rate of 5, and when you forge them, their crit number is modified by 3. And so if you lower it twice, you're lowering it by 6, and the game will show 0, but it'll treat it as a 255, so you're literally underflowing the crit chance and making a weapon that will always crit. This is obviously really powerful, so you up the might of the weapon as well, so that it'll deal more damage. And then once you get past all other modifiers, that final damage number on a crit is tripled. So these are exceptionally potent weapons. The one downside is that they are only one-range weapons except for the Thunder Tome. And that means that he's also going to have to forge a bunch of javelins and such, 1 to 2 range weapons to deal with a bunch of situations.
And that's why he had to sell a bunch of bands there, because he wouldn't be able to afford to forge otherwise.
Forging in the Japanese version is actually a lot more expensive than the North American version. You also start out with slightly less money, if I remember correctly. You start out with 2,500 in the Japanese version, and if I'm remembering correctly, I think you start out with 5K in the localization. I might be wrong on that though.
All right, so you might notice on the upper right, Marcia, who first appeared a few chapters back, appears again. Get a good look at her because you'll be seeing a lot of her for the rest of this run.
Yeah, if you saw Gwimpage's Radiant Dawn speedrun last HEDQ, you might be sad that Marcia kind of got killed to save time. You're going to see her pretty much this entire run here, so hopefully that'll make up for it.
Can't say the same for Ilyana or Fiona, but no, wait, was Fiona?
Who's Fiona?
Was it Astrid or Fiona?
Yeah, it's Astrid
Yeah.
and
Astrid,
Ilyana.
You never use Astrid in either game, so.
Well, I'm happy to announce we've just broken the $100,000 mark.
Nice. And he totally used Astrid. He killed her, remember?
Alright, so something to explain is that there's a fourth phase in this game called the partner phase. They're kind of in between. They're kind of independent AI-controlled units, but you have some indirect control over them, so you can tell them to do whatever they want, or go to a specific target, or not do anything. I think pretty much every time we have partner units, we're going to make them halt, so they don't waste time going around doing things we don't want them to do.
Now, he could have just gone up and killed that boss right away with the slim sword, or slim lance, sorry. The reason he didn't is because that boss also has counter. So with the damage that Titania had already taken, it could have very easily led to Titania's death, which would be the end of the run, or
The counters,
reloading the level.
The counter skill activation rate is skill over 2, and that boss has 12 skills, so it's like a 6% chance to happen. But it's happened way too often to me, so I'm just not gonna risk it.
It's not too big of a deal anyways, because you have to wait for Ike to get to the throne anyways.
Yeah, so now they've, in the plot, they've talked to the Beast King and got 20,000 gold, and now they're going to try to make their way to the main human empire. He also got a couple units you saw him removed from the party there, as well as the thief, Volk. And the two Laguz members are pretty much going to be used for shoving. Mordecai in particular is better because he has the skill Smite, but they're both good because they have very high constitution numbers, which means they're able to shove a lot of different units.
Oh yeah, and it's worth
And
noting
here-
that...
okay, good.
Yeah, so when Ike took over the Grail Mercenaries after his father's untimely demise, Shinon and Gatry desert him. So those are two of the most powerful units we had. Shinon deserted because he's a jerk and, he just doesn't like Ike. Gatry deserted because, I don't know, he saw a paper bag or something and, got distracted.
He just kind of followed Shinon because, he's red and stands out or something. Meanwhile, this is a stealth chapter. You don't have to play it stealthily.
Right.
And it's just faster to do so, and you get a bunch of bonus XP
Right.
from going through,
Right,
going
but
through stealthily.
yeah, I believe the whole purpose of this chapter is it's supposed to be like a prison break. Like, it's supposed to break these people out and get some new recruits.
Yeah, there are 3 units. There's Nephany that you can see there, who's a pretty decent soldier, which is kind of a rare thing in Fire Emblem games. And then there are
Kieran, Braum.
Kieran and Braum down to the lower right, but we're just ignoring them.
There's also Sephirin, but don't worry about him.
He breaks
makes
out
it
on
out
his own.
Titania also kind of hovered around Nephany's cell and just...
Oh, yeah. And I think we just made a contract with Volk. I think the deal is 50 gold for every chest, but we never actually pay, and he still does it. So
Yeah, and there Marcia got the
Night
robe
Band.
that he got earlier, so she has a lot more health, which she is going to need in all likelihood.
We have $20 from Benny, who says, Path of Radiance, my first Fire Emblem game I've ever played. They made me love the series. What's the favorite Fire Emblem game from each person from the couch? Also, good luck with the run.
Sacred Stones.
Mine's Radiant Dawn.
Mine is really a toss-up between this one and Fire Emblem 7, the first one for the Game Boy Advance. I haven't played the 3DS one, though, so note that.
Yours?
I'll have to think about that one.
So, okay, while he thinks about that, so what Gwimpage is doing here is he's going to pump all of his bonus experience into Marcia now, because we're going to be powering up Marcia and promoting her by hitting level 20. Promotion is really important for her because, 1, it gives you a bunch of important stat boosts, and 2, when the Pegasus Knight promoted, this is Pokemon, is promoted, she gets 1 extra space of movement, which is really important in the long run.
I couldn't resist. But yeah, that extra movement point is huge. It's there are a lot of strategies that you'll see in this run that are only possible with the use of shove chains, and even so are pretty much exactly possible with the amount of movement that each character has.
Oh, so something we forgot to mention was the two new units we got a while ago, Mordecai and Leaf, they're both Laguz units, and Laguz units were introduced in this game. Part of the story behind this game is kind of like a racism kind of thing against Laguz and stuff.
They're Japanese-style
Discrimination.
shapeshifters, basically.
Yeah, so the mechanics-wise, every Laguz has their own starting point in their Laguz gauge, and when that hits full, they turn into a beast, and their stats are really powerful, and they have high movement. And then that gauge goes down with every round of combat and every turn, and when it hits 0, they untransform. But we're not really going to use them much for combat because they're just kind of a liability in terms of combat. So,
Well, in terms of the way we're playing,
Yeah.
it doesn't. Their style doesn't mesh as well.
for speedrunning specifically.
Not to mention the fact that every time they transform, there's like a 2 to 3 second animation.
But what's unique about Laguz, besides their high constitution, is the fact that normally you can't shove mountain units, but transform Laguz can. Well, Laguz can. So that becomes really useful, as Alec mentioned before, to shove Marsha.
Or smite with Mordecai.
Yeah, smite shove. So here we see the flashy promotion animation.
They just like absorb a supernova and just like, explode into something new.
Triumphant music.
So
I think I can give Ike another level up here. Yeah. I just had to make sure I had enough for the promotion that I gave him a level to 17.
Alright, so the goal in this chapter is to arrive. Arrives are kind of similar to seize and escape, except basically there's a blue square and any unit can end the chapter by reaching that square.
So yeah, this type of chapter is pretty rare. Usually you have to seize with the Lord. Or, sorry, with the leader of the mercenary, whatever.
He's not a lord yet.
Yeah, he's technically
He's never a
a
lord.
ranger. But, so Gwimpage is flying Marsha into this river here. And since it's impossible for most enemies to reach it, so no one's gonna move, besides the thief.
Oh yeah, I forgot you can get Zahark in this chapter.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's kind of just way off over there.
yeah,
We're gonna
Zahark's
leave
the
him
second
alone.
Myrmidon you can recruit, but we're gonna ignore
Just
him.
go over the freaking castle.
Yeah. And say, hey there, what's up? And there's a boss right there too, but we're gonna ignore him.
And he's going to attack Ike
Yes.
even though Marsha is weak to bows, simply because Ike has such lower defense that he would deal more damage to Ike anyway. And Ike still has the Regal Sword equipped, which is going to become important in a second here. There's a Cavalier that's going to attack him that he should be able to kill unless it got really good stats. And it needs to die in order for him to clear the chapter the next turn.
Okay, 14. Yes. Okay, good. Sometimes that Cavalier can roll more defense than usual, and the strat just falls apart. But I saved right before I started the map, so.
So the formation behind what he did is he paired two units together, one without a weapon and one with a weapon. The idea is to have more enemies attack the unarmed unit to save animations, but you need one unit with the weapon to make sure that you don't get completely surrounded. And you're going to be seeing that pretty commonly.
I've got a $502 donation from Lucas Hitskin. Fire Emblem 7. He says, Fire Emblem 7 is my favorite game of all time, so I've decided to donate now. Kill the animals.
Right, so this chapter, story-wise, we're pretty much going to transport the princess across the seas, and we're on a boat now, and a bunch of ravens, or birds or whatever.
Speaking of killing animals.
Yeah. They want to rob us, so they're going to attack us. This is a chapter where we recruit the other really good flyer named Jill. Stat-wise, she pretty much competes with Marsha in terms of growths.
Was this about recruiting Jill?
Yeah, but
About that.
she's never going to appear, so...
She also has a really nice story arc in this game, and as such is my favorite character, and the speedrun just completely ignores her.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfortunate, because the Wyvern Rider is generally a better class than the Pegasus Knight, because they have more strength and defense, and they generally have enough speed to do what they need to do. But since we already committed so many resources to Marsha, it's not really worth getting a second flyer and committing that many resources to her.
Worm Slayer, man. Worm Slayer.
Yeah, and then there are all these coins which are only useful for imports into Radiant Dawn, but you get them. They clutter up your inventory a little bit.
I mean, one thing, aren't they weaker to lightning in this game? Wyverns, aren't they like weak to lightning?
No,
I
that's,
don't- none
that's
in this
Radiant
game, no.
Dawn.
Oh,
That's
not in
Radiant
this
Dawn.
one.
In this game,
Yeah.
they're weak to wind
And
bows.
bows.
In
It's in Radiant Dawn where they took that out and just
For
made
some
them
reason. And they're even
completely
more OP.
ridiculous.
they were already really strong.
Yeah.
Alright, most of these ravens are kind
Yeah.
of dropping some helpful items, but I'm not going to use most of them, but one of them dropped another Seraph Robe. And Kirby already mentioned that gives +7 HP, and Marcia really appreciates that extra bulk, especially later on in the game.
But I mean, she doesn't really need it now, but later. Sure.
Yeah, because eventually all that defense that she gained will not quite be enough. Because she's only tanky because she's such high level right now.
That's not what you're supposed to name it.
The one before it.
That's
the
the
one
one
before it.
before it. Oh.
Oh, pink, that's right.
Oh well. So this chapter is another survive chapter, but it's actually pretty interesting because you don't really repeatedly end turn that much. So at the very start, we're going to be reusing a lot of units here, and we're going to have a really long shove train. And we're going to see the first instance of Smite as well. So we're going to be rescuing a lot of green units because we want them to avoid as much combat as possible since they're terrible and they're going to die and waste time.
Waste a lot
Yeah.
of time.
Another goal is to get Ike to talk to Astrid. Astrid is a green unit that's on the horse right there.
She's really weak, and
She's
she'll
level
die
1.
instantly, like, if I don't save her. Oh, oops.
Right. So he needs to shove Ike like 3 or 4 times for him to be in range to talk to her in the first turn. Then with Astrid, he needs to have her talk to Gatri, who's right there, and then pretty much can rescue him and get him out of the way so they don't really interfere with the chapter. One more thing to note, this being a survive chapter, there's going to be a bunch of ravens that show up later on. And for plot reasons, they're not going to attack you anymore. At a certain point, they're going to go for the treasure chests. So we want to open up all the treasure chests before that happens. Because if they're all open already, then the ravens will just run away and not attack. And that will save time. So this is where Vol comes in handy here, and also the chest keys we got earlier with Oscar.
Alright, now would be a good time for donations.
All right, $100 from Treminot. Greetings from Germany. This is my second donation this AGDQ, and I wish you the best of luck in your runs. I'll try not to get tongue-twisted with this one, but it's a bit of a pun. Tsunami Games with $250. Hey everyone, I've been replaying all of the old games since I can hardly wait for the release of Faith.
Yo! Wow! Oh, hero soldier!
No.
That just happened last the practice run before. What's the crit rate on that dude?
It's low. It's
Probably like
really low.
two or three or something.
Yeah, he's not even a halberdier to get the...
That man is a legend.
and he has a regular spear, so it's... He probably has a crit rate unmodified
one or-
of
Less than
something
5
like,
probably.
Probably like 15, and then the enemy's luck would reduce it to about that. So it's low.
It saves you animation time.
That's the one moment that I wish we had animations on so we could see that glorious moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, not only can you not anticipate that, unlike
He's going down so hard.
unlike in Radiant Dawn, where you can turn animations on or off temporarily by pressing the Z button, in this game, it doesn't have that functionality.
So we're getting a lot of stuff in the treasure chest. I don't think we're going to actually use any of them.
Yeah,
No.
we get an energy drop, and that's
Yeah.
like the most useful thing. That's
Energy drops are a stat raising item. They specifically raise strength by 2.
Those 2 points make a big difference, by the way. So energy drops are generally really useful.
Anyone who's played Fire Emblem games, I'm sure is like instinctively clenched up there when they saw Bo attacking a Pegasus Knight.
Just remember how strong Marcia is compared to everyone she's facing.
Marcia is pretty much invincible right now.
Yeah, Marcia is really, really strong. As is Titania.
The role Titania plays throughout this game is that she kind of soloed the early game, but her use is going to start tapering off until like we don't really use her anymore after mid game because Marcia just
You are
kind
not
of-
going to double attack. You are not going to double
He's gonna
attack.
double. Oh,
Okay.
wow.
I wouldn't be surprised. Oh.
Ooh, this wasn't. Okay, I got this.
You have Leaf.
Yeah.
I think you're fine.
Yeah.
Leaf can take the soldier down.
I mean, worst case, you could just park Gatry in the space that they would
But the
try to
ravens will
seize.
move after somebody. I got this. Don't.
Don't let that soldier
Die in vain.
Well, he didn't die.
Well,
but
yeah.
Don't waste his efforts.
Another thing about saving those units, in addition to saving time, you even get a little more bonus XP from having them survive. With that, it's probably still a good time for donations.
Yep. $50 from Llama. Finally have the money to donate to GDQ, so I have to donate during Fire Emblem. Love the
Nice.
runs and kill the animals.
As if that wasn't expected.
Again, since this is a survive chapter, moving Titania out of the way and messing around with the strat a bit isn't really a big deal, so you have to wait several turns anyways.
Yeah, and one of the silly things in this chapter, at least on the lower difficulties, is that there are several enemies that will just stay stationary, even when it is very much not in their personal interest.
Yeah, this would help Birdier right here. If you don't guard the defend point, he'll actually just kind of move and give you a game over and like seize the defend
Yeah, like if
point.
a single enemy unit goes into that square in the middle, then it's game over.
Yeah. Also, you might notice on the back there, those two guys flying. One of those is like the leader of the Ravens. He could totally wreck this entire ship if he wanted to, like right now. But thankfully, plot armor is preventing him from doing this. So.
$50 from Dolitza. This is my second AGDQ and fourth GDQ overall, but I'm first time donating. Sadly, this also allows my mother dying of cancer just this October. It helps during these hard times to watch people showcasing their awesome skills in gaming for a good cause.
Yeah, thanks for the donation, buddy. Sorry for your loss.
Alright, and here's the last chest. Just in time.
The Speedwing, I don't think you're going to use it, are you?
I'll actually use it, but I don't actually need to.
And this is the point where you just repeatedly end turn, so
Yeah.
you can read more donations.
Greetings from Germany. I slept just about 3 hours to catch the Fire Emblem run. I lost my dad 3 years ago to cancer, and I'm so happy to see people play of games to fight this horrible disease. Also, in the best tradition of speedrunning, save the frames, kill the animals. That's from Anonymous, $55.
Vielen Dank.
Yes, major shout outs to anyone in Europe watching this right now, because I know that the hour is a lot more tight out there.
So this chapter is the kill the boss chapter, and you can kind of guess what we're going to do with
Don't
only
blink.
2 units.
Right.
Yeah.
This is also the chapter that you can, that you can recruit Marcia's brother Makalov. We won't be doing that, unfortunately, but he will live on in the form of a spear.
He is with us.
He's kind of in the upper left corner, and you have to have Marcia talk to him to recruit him, but
She's busy.
she's busy.
Got things to do.
The general plot at the moment is that Ike was trying to get help from the Begnion Empress, or Sanaki, I think.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
sending him on tasks to expose the Lugu's slave trade. And so we're pretty much going to do a few tasks for her, and then eventually, in the climax of this part of the plot,
You should have killed him with Makalov.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the climax, we're going to be chasing down like a senator or something who tries to kidnap a Heron Lagoose.
A very misunderstood man, I will
Yeah.
point out.
Oliver did nothing wrong.
Oliver did nothing wrong.
Such a
Okay.
beautiful man.
Do you guys want to just
Brings a
explain
tear to my
the
eye.
desert?
Okay, so desert chapters are kind of a thing in most Fire Emblem games. There's a
Yeah.
lot of hidden treasure.
Yeah.
And when a thief, in this game, when a thief stands on a treasure spot, then they're 100% guaranteed to get whatever is in that item.
Nice.
And he just got a tomb that's randomly there.
Yeah, that's pretty lucky.
The Shine Tome, the percentage chance for other units is, I think, equal to their luck.
Yeah, so and it's pretty low. So
Yeah.
Volk's role is to go up to the top or upper center part of the map where there's a boots. Boots are really important because they permanently increase your movement by 2. You can guess who we're going to use that on.
But most importantly,
yeah.
this is the map that you can recruit Stefan.
Oh, we're definitely going to get him. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
totally. Another important thing to note is that for every Lagoose you don't kill, you get extra bonus experience. So we only kill like 1 Lagoose, and that's pretty much it.
Right. And so this guy's totally dead.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, this is actually one of the very few times in Fire Emblem where you can actually kill the boss and he still somehow joins your party. It usually doesn't happen, especially since this is a game where you're supposed to, like, actually die.
And much like Vida, he's actually useful to the run, although in a significantly different way, being a Laguz and therefore a good shover. As opposed to being able to get the Uber Spear with the glitch.
Oh, whoops.
We've got $360 from Fast B. I didn't get to watch the Super Mario 64 race live this year, but I'd still like to donate $1 per star collected. Hope this can help take out cancer in all its forms.
So we're going to cap out Ike at level 20 because, one, he needs to have the highest stats possible that we can get him for survivability. And two, a character is at max level. The experience bar doesn't show up anymore for every round of combat, so that saves a chunk of time in the long run.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, Ike has a story promotion at the end of Chapter 17, so that's a little bit of play where he's not going to be able to gain experience, and therefore it's going to save time.
Yep, so we're just going to have another BXP session, so now would be a good time for donations.
All right, Snowfire with $50. Hey, runners. Path
Nice!
Let's level up.
Path of Radiance is good times. Glad to see it run. Do you know if Fire Emblem Awakening is an interesting speedrun? It seemed pretty viewer hostile with constant enemy phase skip.
Well,
Might
yeah,
be
that,
interesting to watch if it was banned or the like.
well, I mean, you pretty much answered your own question there. Like, enemy skipping
Yeah.
kind of is a thing.
Yeah, for like every speedrun for like the DS games, like starting with the like DS games, you can skip enemy phases, and it,
Which, from a casual gameplay, that is fantastic, by the way.
yeah, but for a speedrun, it makes the watch like
Well,
really bad because you're watching a black screen constantly, and you can't really follow like along with the run what's like even happening. And on the DS games, like if somebody dies, like it doesn't actually tell you anything. Like your unit's just gone when you get control of the cursor again. It's just awkward.
Yeah, so not very good for viewing. Here, he has two things that he wants to do in this chapter. So he's going to use his two mobile units to move, two good mobile units to move Ike and Folk into the level. He needs the Thief to open a chest, which contains a very important item for Marja's survival, the Full Guard. And Ike, meanwhile, is needed to clear the chapter because this is a Seize victory condition chapter.
So right here you see the formation I mentioned before where Marcia has equipped weapons to make sure that they don't get completely surrounded, but Titania does not have anything equipped, so they go after her first. You notice that since Marcia has 2 extra movement, she's going to be completely outspeeding Titania in terms of movements. She's sort of going to fall behind.
$50 from Yobro. Love what you guys do, and this makes my first time donating some moolah for Fire Emblem. My coworker is suffering from leukemia and is working 3 jobs at the same time to support his family and pays for his treatments. Shout out to Saska. Finally, one of us made it there in person, bro. Kill the saves, frame the animals. I'd also like to put this money towards DMC for Virgil, NG, Devil Hunter.
Wendy, please.
Yeah, he just tossed the useless gamble scroll there.
Yep,
that he
I
just
actually
picked
need
up.
my inventory to be free for next chapter, so I toss it. Gamble's not a very good skill anyways.
Yeah, what Gamble does is you have the option to use Gamble when you attack someone, and when you use Gamble, your hit rate is halved, but your crit rate is doubled.
There's some really cool like builds like that you can make with Gamble where you have like 100% crit. with
Yeah.
Certain characters, but it's just a gimmick, so
It's best with characters like Mia. If you give them a killing edge or even an archer with a killer bow can be really useful. But even though you get a number higher than 100, reducing to half of it, not being reduced to 100 and then therefore to 50, you can get up to like 70 something with a very high chance of critting. It's mostly a casual only thing to do.
And something to note is that crit rates are rolled after the game calculates that you actually made a hit. So if you have a really low hit rate but a 100% crit rate, you're not going to crit necessarily. You can only land a critical hit if you actually land a hit in the first place.
Yeah, and another quirk about the way the RNG works in this game, it queries 2 numbers for each check to see if an attack hits. So it doesn't do anything to change the distribution. So it's more of a bell curve in terms of the results. 50% is going to be 50%, but 75% to hit, as shown, is going to be actually a little bit higher.
So the game rolls, so when you have a displayed hit of, say, 75%, the game rolls 2 random numbers, takes the average of them, and checks if it's higher than 75.
Well, actually, it's lower than 25, but that's splitting hairs.
Yeah. Basically, the general gist is that since your units are generally better than the enemy units, this mechanic usually favors you because you're going to have higher hit rates on enemies, and enemies will have lower hit rates on you. And this only applies to hit rates, not critical hit rates.
So we got the full guard. What does that do?
So the full guard is a really important item for Marcia. When you have it equipped, it protects you from all forms of super effective damage. So in Marcia's case, it protects her from, it makes it so wind magic, ballista, bows, anything like that do not have double might on her. Which is especially important for ballista because they have really high mights.
Oh my. Oh, it doesn't fit.
It's F-R-E-N-D-S.
Because I can
What?
spell good.
Yeah, F-R-E-N-D-S.
Okay.
Ike fights for his friends. Here we go. So this is Chapter 17. Chapter 17, as I mentioned, is kind of the climax of the mid-game, where you're chasing down a senator that's kind of, what's the word, misunderstood?
Yeah. He's a
not really
glorious,
done much.
glorious man.
He's an ambitious man with dreams, high dreams.
So you have one really big map, but you play it in 4 parts. This is basically 4 smaller chapters put into one big chapter. So this first part, which is Chapter 17, Part 1, is a route chapter. This actually goes by pretty quickly. So Marcia is going to be sent flying to the very top and blitz the enemies at the top, and also killing a few units in the middle. Ike will be cleaning up some of the remainder enemies near the bottom. Unfortunately, they all have one ranged weapon, so he can counter-attack all of them.
And the one thing you do kind of want to hope for is that they don't get hit with the venom weapons, because that will poison them and cost a few seconds each turn after that. They do get healed at the end of each part of this 4-part chapter, but still, it's always nice to save those few frames from the animation.
Yeah, and in addition to the 4-part chapter, we actually will continue on to each section of the map, like, with the same party. And after each map, we have the option of deploying another set of 2 units. So,
I just got poisoned there because that guy had a venom edge.
yeah. And so we want to be duoing this map entirely with Ike and Marcia. We do not want to be deploying anybody else. Even though this is a route map, it would be like beneficial to have more people participate in the route so we could like kill more enemies faster. I mean, that doesn't really apply to this route, but in general, like the idea would be like you'd want more people to help out. But because one of the sections of this map is a defend chapter, we want to keep like our low manning strategy up. We don't want to be deploying anybody unnecessary to get targeted.
And one thing that's kind of cool is you can actually see the basic map of all 4
Yeah.
parts if you just look around.
Oh,
Ooh, hey,
whoops.
dramatic.
Camera locks up when... Okay. Like, we can kind of see...
Yeah, to the upper left corner of the screen is the second part of the map.
Alright, this is the last enemy.
I'd like to take a moment to plug our 2 donation prizes for this block. We have a Fire Emblem Fates 3DS bundle, Japanese version, and Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem reproduction cartridge.
Ooh, I want that.
So part 2 is an arrive chapter, and we have a lot of forests and swamp, and we have a flyer. So to put all those things together, you can pretty much guess what's going to happen here.
Yeah, this map is pretty broken if you do it like this.
Yeah, for some reason, the developers thought it was a good idea to like put these empty squares in the middle of these forests here.
I love that shimmy, by the way. Like that diagonal shimmy. God forbid they actually program in like a diagonal flying animation.
If you remember the other Arrive chapter before getting on the boats, none of the enemies moved for the first turn because it was impossible for them to reach the one unit on the chapter, and that was the case for the first 2 turns of this chapter. But since it's kind of possible for them to reach Marcia, they are all moving now. There isn't really any way to avoid this on the 3rd turn.
$50 from Eternal Knight. Hello there, first time donating. On a fun note, who are everyone's favorite pairings in Path of Radiance?
Oh man,
Man, that's difficult.
That is not a difficult question at all. It's Oliver Racing, free.
Alright, this chapter is a survive chapter, and it's really terrible because there's a lot of venom weapons around, there's a lot of mages, and for plot reasons, basically we found another Heron, Leanne, she's kind of passed out. Ike is carrying her, and he's forced to carry her, he can't drop her or anything. And if you remember what we mentioned before, when a unit is carrying another unit, their speed and skill is halved. This means Ike's going to get hit by almost everything because his speed is lowered significantly. So we need Marcia to clear out a few enemies so I can get into a safe corner and turtle up.
And you also noticed him use a pure water item on Ike there. What that does is it adds to his resistance.
Well, it's not yet, right?
It adds 10. It starts with 10, and then each successive turn it lowers by 1.
I think it's +7. I don't quite
7?
remember though. But either way, like you add some sort of like 7 or 10 to the resistance, and it lowers each turn by 1.
Yeah. Okay, I just thought about the pairing thing. My favorite pairing in Path of Radiance is definitely Joffrey and Alencia. Just like
Oh man,
couple.
Twitch chat's gonna come after you.
Like, if we're talking legit, I'd say Makalov Astrid just because it's so ridiculous.
Dude, you're gonna get so much flack. Everybody just loves Makalov.
And Zyhark. Meg VP and Zyhark. She's not even in this game, so
Yeah.
Making her pookums.
Pookums.
Alright, I sort of recovered from a mistake I made on the first turn.
What'd you do wrong?
You forgot to pure water, right?
I didn't pure water,
Yeah.
so I took a bunch of damage from the mages. So we're backing into this corner, and we're just going to use our items accordingly. So pure water increases your resistance by 7. It will steadily decrease after every subsequent turn. And we just need to stay healthy. Because Ike can't be rescued while he's carrying Leanne, we actually have to protect him. So
But that just mostly amounts to blocking off with Marcia and then using items as needed. So this is a good time for some more donations.
$20 from Exfilmetal17. Exfilmetal17 here. First of hopefully a few donations. Had to donate for one of my favorite series. Put this to bringing Luigi to the party. After getting Peach's kiss, he deserves to go after all. $20 from Kakalakin. Here's $20 for pronouncing Marcia's name correctly.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah, Marcia.
Marcia, totally.
I'm pretty sure it's Marcia.
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 Marcia. Kind of noticed Ike is carrying a friend, and he has a sword called For Friends, so he's kind of protecting his friend, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He fights for his friends.
More like protecting his friend.
$50 from Anonymous. Fire Emblem for the win, and AGDQ even more so. First time I've been able to donate. Hopefully I'll be able to every GDQ from here on. Killing animals is too commonly done. How about saving them for a change?
Keep shooting for it, buddy.
I will make you slightly warmer every turn.
Oh, defend maps.
I think it's the last Defender or Survive chapter, right?
Yeah,
No.
yes it is.
$50 from Cedric Grenier. My aunt was
You're
diagnosed.
actually like a crit away from dying.
I don't think I can crit on Ike with his extra levels. I think he has enough luck.
That's how I go on.
From Cedric Grenier, my aunt was diagnosed with cancer about 1.5 years ago. It should have been a simple operation, but by the time the cancer was discovered, it had already spread all over. She passed away this fall. Early detection would have saved her. It's a very important thing, and it's a great cause you guys are supporting. I've been following the events for years, but it's more personal this year, and I'm glad that I can help you guys out. Keep up the great runs and the awesome work. My aunt loved animals, so it's only natural this donation should go towards saving them.
Thanks for your donation.
$75 from the Fool. Don't be a traitor. Save those Yoshis. Best of luck to the runners and the staff. You're doing a great job.
Yes, everyone loves Yoshis.
$50 from Softcore Gamer. Great to see the continuation of Pegasus Knight domination from my days of arena abuse in the GBA Fire Emblem games. Putting this donation to Blindfolded Punch-Out because Sinister and Zalud are amazing.
Oh man, those
I
arenas.
agree.
Everyone has those. Everyone has memories of spending hours in those arenas and then getting crit by that one random mercenary.
So this is part 4. The goal is to kill the boss. There's a bunch of forests and swamp cutting across the center of the map. And as you can tell, you can see that those horse units are having a tough time getting across the swamp. But we have a flyer with 11 movement, I think.
Yeah, nice shot.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
11.
13 damage. So she's gonna kind of sneak up on the boss. That has done absolutely nothing wrong.
Yes, the true hero of our story.
She's gonna kill the boss with Wendy.
Knock him out, not kill. He's too beautiful to die.
Yeah, knock him out. There we go.
He was just a connoisseur of fine arts. What are you doing?
Yeah, there's also a spawn line. Basically, you cross a certain point, then other units will appear. So he was able to completely bypass that and skip a little scene, saving even a little more time beyond that.
Right. So this is where Ike's force promotion is, and Ike becomes a pretty good infantry unit in terms of combat and stats. So he's pretty useful for cleaning up a few enemies here and there. Well, because now that he's promoted, he can pretty much keep up with the enemy stats now. Well,
Yeah.
better than before. And this next chapter, the goal of this chapter is to route, and it has kind of a long corridor, so pretty much going to have Marcia kind of fly through this corridor and killing everything on the way, while taking advantage of her high movements.
Right. I believe Ike also gains access to a really cool skill called Aether that we are going to not use.
The problem with Aether is that the animation takes a lot of time, and it also requires an occult skill, which we do have, I think.
Not to
But-
mention the fact that its chance of activating is based on his skill, so it's not something you can rely on.
We have $20 from Kathleen Allen. Hey everyone, thank you for everything you guys are doing. You're all awesome. I know this game isn't being played this at AGDQ, but I must say, wonder shot! Keep up the awesome. Oh, and this donation goes to Battletoad, any % Blindfold Tunnel, because I've had enough
That's
trouble
the D.
playing it while looking. I just have to see that.
Oh yeah,
RSE.
can only fit so much characters.
Orange for the dog. It's closest thing to brown. So since this chapter pretty much requires Marcia to go as far as possible, the strategy is to have Rayson vigor her. Rayson is our dancer units in this game. Dancer units are kind of traditional in Fire Emblem games where their main ability is to allow a unit to move again on the same turn. So he's going to move Marcia up part of the way and then use Rayson to vigor her and let her move again. Titania, Tanith, who is a new Pegasus Knight that just joined, and Ike are going to clean up the leftovers near the start of the chapter. So Tanith is a unit
Nice.
who's another Falcon Knight. She has pretty good base stats, although she's nowhere near the level of Marcia's stats. But she's pretty useful because she's the only other flyer we really have at this point.
Technically, Racing is also a flyer, being a Heron, but that's of limited use because he's so frail.
Gwimpage said that Raisin's apparently not weak to wind magic or bows.
Yeah,
which is
he's not
interesting.
weak to wind or bows while he's untransformed. Once he transforms, it's fair game.
Yeah, at that point, he gains those weaknesses, but before that, he's essentially weak to everything because untransformed Lagoos are weak and Herons are
All around
anything
frail.
but bulky.
Yeah.
I believe this is the chapter that we get reunited with our old buddy Shinon, right?
Yeah.
So Shinon has some interesting recruitment requirements that aren't really hinted at too much. So Shinon secretly trained Rolf, who is a level 1 archer that joined a while ago that we kind of ignored. To recruit Shinon, you have to have Rolf talk to Shinon, then have Ike defeat Shinon in this chapter. That's the only way to recruit him. We never really bothered with Rolf, and he's going to die in one hit. And this is a route chapter, so we're going to kill Shinon. So that's just how it is. I mean, he's been kind of a complete jerk to Ike, so yeah. Ike's pretty much sending Marcia to kill him off.
Before it slips my mind, I just want to admit to Arena abusing Vanessa and Sacred Stones about the donation comment a while ago. It's kind of whatever.
Yeah, everyone's been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so that ability, that attack you just saw is a bolting tomb. There are tombs called siege tombs in this game that allow you to attack between 3 to 10 squares away. So they're kind of like ballista or sniping attacks. But you're vulnerable to 1 to 2 range attacks, and they're generally pretty limited in use because they're inaccurate and heavy, and
And you can't counterattack.
you can't
it.
counterattack anything. And you only have 5 uses as well.
It's situationally useful. We're gonna use it later on, but it's not important right now, at least.
We have a $370 donation from an anonymous donor.
Nice.
Great
Nice.
job so far, everyone. I love that destroying and playing games can be used for fighting against cancer that has touched so many. Let's kill cancer, frames, and the animals. Good luck and have fun.
The fact that Titania is actually able to clean up these units even halfway through the game after not using her much goes to show how amazing her starting stats are.
Yeah, the general beam, I don't know, the theory behind the Jagan type characters is usually that they're only useful right away and that you never want to keep them around, but the ones in this game are actually pretty good.
Titania has pretty good growth.
Well, in most games, most Jagans can actually get by. Like,
Yeah, they can
entire
get
game.
by, but
like
the-
Jagan in FE11, if you forge a weapon, he stays good for like most of the game.
Well,
and you could
he's-
just reclass him to bishop and use him as a warper.
I suppose.
I guess generally they have really good starting stats at the start, but pretty low or meh growth. But Titania actually has really good growth
Yeah.
throughout the game, so
Yeah, just a limited number of levels to grow in is the main thing for her. And it's also worth noting that the other characters that he moved back down to where they started, essentially, the reason he did that is because there are enemies that will otherwise spawn there, and instead of just, moving them to an adjacent square, they just won't appear.
Oh no.
oh, bye Shinon.
Oh no. My super helpful sniper.
What's interesting is that Shinon had a brave bow. I don't think we use any brave weapons in this run, but brave weapons
Brave
allow
lance.
you. Oh yeah,
The brave
I think we
lance
do use a
for,
brave
like,
lance.
one use.
Yeah, but the brave weapons allow you to attack twice per what you would normally attack without a brave weapon. So they're pretty unique and interesting.
And that also means if you have 2 attacks, it becomes 4.
Also, it's something important to notice that Marcia used a chest key to grab the Wrath ability. The Wrath is a pretty important ability for endgame. It's activated whenever you're below 50% of your maximum health. And what happens is that the game adds 50% to your critical hit rates.
Yep, Wrath will come into play way later in the run, but for now it's just like we
Just
gotta
keep that in
collect it.
mind.
Yeah, we just gotta collect it right now.
Oh no, 5 damage.
And yeah,
That high level wind magic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
level
wind magic is very weak. It becomes pretty good in Radiant Dawn, but in this game it's pretty trash.
The nicest thing about it in this game, honestly, is the fact that you don't need strength on your mages to
Yeah,
avoid
wind
suffering
magic
speed
is pretty
penalties.
light.
The tomes are all really light, except for Blizzard. But all the siege tomes are weight 20.
I think it goes like 13, 14, 15 for all the siege magic, but it's kind of irrelevant in most cases because they weigh so much.
$10 from Zotmeister. My stepfather's a cancer survivor, and I'm a Shadow Dragon survivor. So here's my first AGDQ donation.
Oh, wow, he went there.
Tell the ones, Sinister and Zalor, to get their blindfolds ready.
Oh, hey, so Raisin transforms. So when Raisin's a goose, so he can transform, but when he's transformed, he can vigor or refresh 4 units at a time, which sounds really amazing on paper, and it's really great casually, and it's also freaking amazing in Radiant Dawn. But in terms of strategies for Path of Radiance, we're not really going to need more than like 1 unit, active unit, maybe 2. Plus the fact that it takes so long for him to transform that it's not really going to be very useful. And the only way to speed up the transformation is to use an item called a Lagoose Stone, which instantly transforms you on the spot.
However, it requires an action on his part, and in most cases it's turn 1 where he's doing his song, and everything else after that he isn't really needed for.
Oh yeah, I don't know if we ever stopped to mention this, but mounted units, whether flyer or cavalier, whatever, they can attack and then move again. Because, I don't know, they decided that mounted units weren't good enough, and so they should have this awesome extra feature.
Normally, at least in the GBA Fire Emblem games, when mounted units, when they do a more passive action, like visiting a village or trading, they can use their remaining movement to move somewhere else. But you can't do that with attacking. But in this game, you can use your remaining movement even after attacking.
Alright, it's a strategy.
Although hitting houses actually does stop your movement
Oh, what happened?
for other ones.
Nothing, just got a little impatient. It's fine, I just saved.
Oh, thank God.
Okay,
Yeah,
here we
formation is actually fairly important in a lot of levels. So
I think
especially
this level will explain
go.
itself.
Here we go.
Yeah.
You'll see what happens. It's a pretty cool strat.
Alright, this strategy is pretty cool.
Everyone's just gonna bully Grayson. Racing.
He's so fragile, though. Like, how is he withstanding all that? Like, I think Rayson has a support conversation with Ike where, like, he says he punched the Oliver who did nothing wrong, and he broke all of the bones in his fist because he's so fragile. Right there is another instance of Mordecai using Smite, which shoves characters 2 spaces.
And it's just enough for Marcia to be in range of a bigger.
The goal of this chapter is to kill the boss, and we shoved Rayson and Marcia pretty far. Now she can reach the boss.
Oh,
this guy also has a sonic sword, which is a magic-based, wind-based
Yeah, you know,
sword.
super
3
effective
damage.
against flyers.
too bad the text is in Japanese because his death quote and the localization is actually pretty good. It's like the shame. And
So,
just, like,
2 things to
fall
note.
over.
1, he just skipped Volk's force promotion. Volk has another story-based promotion, but we don't want to watch the animation. Second, there's another bonus experience requirement in the previous chapter where the more ravens you leave alive, the more bonus experience you get. Now, we just recruited the only mage we're going to use actively. Her name's Khalil, and we're forging another Thunder Tomb with 255 crit rate. So Khalil is a pre-promoted mage with really good starting stats, and after giving her a forged tomb, she's pretty much going to kill everything in one shot. Because 1, her magic stat's pretty good, and 2, she targets resistance. And enemy resistances are generally lower than defense.
The one downside is that she's very much a glass cannon and can't stand up against many hits.
So Gwimpage is safety saving here for a reason, because the
This
Wyvern
strategy-
Rider's behavior can be really finicky.
Not so much like the movement, it's just like if they connect their attacks enough, things can get really dicey, and I have no choice but to reset, but
Yeah, there's actually a slight chance of, I believe, Tanith dying in this one.
I like to call Tanith most useful, useless unit. Like,
She doesn't really do any combat, but she's really useful otherwise.
yeah. She's really good at babysitting Racing and other units, and just like collecting items throughout the map. But she doesn't actually need to fight to be good, I guess.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in this chapter. the goal of this chapter is to arrive. So Ike and Marcia are going to go after the boss and complete the chapter. Tanith, her goal is to go to the bottom village and get what's the scroll? Oh no, the rescue staff at the bottom of the village. The rescue staff is a staff where when you use it, you can warp a unit far away up to where the user is, which we use twice in this run. Titania and Khalil are going to handle getting to the top left village. I forgot what that gives.
It gives you the smite scroll.
Smite scroll.
But the reason why we need to clear up the top left is for some AI manipulation. For some reason, this Wyvern Rider near the boss, he can canto in front of like your pathway to the boss. And for some reason, by putting Khalil and Titania in front of that house, like that Wyvern Rider will canto out of the way for whatever reason. I'm not sure what. I like to think because he's being threatened by Khalil's meteor range, he tries to like escape from it or something. But it's kind of like a unique instance because like no other unit, no other like enemy units do that at all. So.
By meteor, he means that Khalil actually, when you recruit Khalil, she comes with a meteor tomb,
Yeah.
which is another siege tomb.
All right, so here we go. Don't soft lock when I visit the village. I'm gonna let it play out. I've soft locked here a few times for no reason.
So he's getting the smite scroll because we already have Mordecai who has smite, but we need a second smiter. So we're going to give that to Morim, who is the other tiger Lagoose we have. He's the guy that we beat up in the desert.
Yeah.
And we just killed Jill's dad.
Who's Jill?
I don't
That's a
know
good
who Jill
question.
is.
Who's Jill?
Yeah, so now this is pretty much the first phase of the invasion of Dayan. It's a fairly short part of the game, partly because you have the Empire's backing after Chapter 17 and all that stuff there. Then it goes back to retaking Crimea, which is the homeland of Ike and Princess Alencia.
I suppose.
No, question mark. You need a question mark.
Question mark.
I don't well.
Okay, there we go. So we need a bonus experience Ike for the rest of the game. So now would be a good time for donations.
Nichols with a $30 donation says, Fire Emblem hype! Also, Yoshi was my favorite video game character as a child, so I have to donate towards saving them. Darth Helmet 86 says, thank you for all your hard work and time in helping raise donations toward preventing cancer. $20 donation from Manders. I love Path of Radiance so much. My favorite game is my favorite series. Thanks to everyone for their efforts to support such a good cause, and may the RNG bless you.
Yeah, so we were asking about favorite Fire Emblems before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think about it. I'm gonna give the hipster answer and say Fire Emblem 4.
Oh man.
It's a good game.
So as Butters mentioned before, we're actually going to invade Dane, and this is the Dane Castle. So we're pretty much going to have Rayson, Marcia carry Ike, and then Rayson boost her forward, and then Tanith babysit Rayson. It's pretty standard fare. So Ike is using a pure water there because, as we mentioned before, pure water boosts your resistance temporarily. There is a priest with the sleep staff. The accuracy of status saves is affected by the target's resistance. So the higher the target's resistance, the lower the staff's accuracy is. Which is really important because if Ike doesn't use that pure water, then that priest will target Ike, and if he falls asleep, then we have no choice but to reset.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yep, and I just subtly traded Rayson's elixir to Marcia. So she could use it later on.
You mean
if she
pure water,
gets-
but yeah. Wait,
No,
elixir.
I traded
Okay,
elixir.
yeah.
Rayson joins with an elixir. Alright.
Anonymous donation, $10. My great-uncle recently passed away from a long, hard battle with cancer, and I think of him every day. I love watching AGDQ and SGDQ, and the amount it has raised in the past. Luck to all the runners this year.
So there's a guy here named Toronio that will join. He joins because he worked with Ike's father or something like that, or was friends.
Yeah, they were part of the 4 Riders of Dayan back before Ashnard, the main baddie, took the throne. And Taronio's the only one who remained among them.
You're going to see an interesting strat here coming up soon. So you recruit Taronio by having Ike talk to him. And if Taronio is going to be rescuing Ike, then Gwimpage is going to have Marcia rescue Ike and then drop him.
Yeah, take drop. So it's kind of like moving Ike a few extra tiles. Because I can just run by Taronio and not recruit him, but I actually want a weapon that he joins with, so I'm going to recruit him.
Something you can do in the recent Fire Emblem games is normally when you have something rescued, you can have another unit go next to that unit, take whoever's rescued, but on that same turn you can drop them. Which is a pretty clever way to move a few units, extra spaces.
Shoutouts to Don Don for helping me with this. This. There we go. Okay. I had to make sure my Slim Lance was equipped before taking and dropping because I wouldn't have any other opportunity to equip my Slim Lance before fighting the boss.
Miracle.
And she is really bulky.
Miracle, miracle, miracle.
Might as well explain what Miracle is since several bosses have it in the run.
So Miracle is a skill. If whoever has a skill Miracle, if they take a blow that would kill them, there's a slight chance of them being able to survive that hit at 1 HP. The chance of that activating is your luck. I'm not sure how much luck Anna has, but let's say you have 15 luck, then your chances of surviving a fatal blow would be 15%.
Yeah, in both Helios games, they take half damage.
Oh, it's half damage? Okay.
Yeah. So, like, if she has 10 HP, she'll only take 5 damage from a lethal attack. And I think you could proc Miracle over and over. I'm not too sure on that, though. I don't. Miracle is pretty weird.
It's one of those abilities that's, like, really unreliable on yourself, but really annoying when an enemy unit has it.
Yeah, because in the first place, you probably shouldn't be in a situation where you're gonna die. And then second, Miracle doesn't really proc consistently.
And I like how I think the one character that starts with Miracle is Mist, who is a cleric, who shouldn't really be getting an attack in the first place.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of Miracle, though, I think a lot of people who play this game have their stories of when it procced and, saved a character. The first time I had it work for me was actually in a fight. The first time I faced a certain knight, who you're going to see in a few chapters, and allowed me to actually win the fight on my first try instead of getting destroyed.
So this chapter has a pretty cool strat. The goal is to kill the boss, and the gimmick is that he puts a bunch of innocent priests, and you're supposed to shove them out of the way, and you get more bonus experience. And you get a prize for letting them all survive too, I think.
Yeah, you get hammered staff.
Okay.
Oh, you actually get an Ashura staff.
Oh, the Ashura staff, that's
yeah,
right.
it's the S rank staff that heals like everybody on the.
But we just killed a priest, so we're not going to get that.
Yeah, go fast.
Yeah.
The alternative strat is way too unreliable, so this is probably the best way to take the map.
So Khalil used a siege tomb to damage the boss. The boss needs to be weakened in order for Marcia to finish off the boss. Titania and Tanith are going to kill a few priests that are in the way.
Yeah, this is Tanith's only kill in the run, and she does it pretty well, I guess.
We have $20 from FaZe. Had to stay up to watch the Fire Emblem Oracle of Ages. Who needs sleep anyway, right? Thank you for all those involved with AGDQ 2016.
Okay, don't miss.
Yeah, there's a reasonable chance she can miss. Okay.
Alright, there we go.
Does the boss move first in the enemy phase?
No.
No, okay.
He
so-
moves like later in the turn order, so
that sucks
if
then.
you don't kill him right away on turn 1, a bunch of enemies will move. Alright, so here we go, the bridge chapter. Everybody has fond memories of this place.
Yeah, this chapter has a gimmick where you have a bridge to reach the castle. The bridge has a bunch of sandbags that block your way and a bunch of ballista. But the thing is, there's a bunch of pitfalls that you can't see. These are all preset, so you can memorize them or look at a map and it'll always be the same. The thing is, we're just gonna fly across this entire map to Marcia, and the pitfalls don't affect flying units, so we can just kind of ignore them and not care.
Plus, we need to get away from the Harminator.
This is the one of the big best maps where the full guard really comes into play. A lot of Ballista have a pretty reasonable chance to hit Marcia, and she would take a lot of damage if she didn't have the full guard. And this is also a chapter where like Marcia's durability starts showing, or lack of thereof at this point.
Okay, I have an idea. I was supposed to unequip my weapon this turn, and I'm running low on some lance uses. So I'm not gonna have enough for this next enemy phase and for the boss kill. So I'm gonna trade weapons with Ike for this next turn.
Oh yeah, because Falcon Knights can also use swords.
So
Marcia's gonna fight for her friends.
Oh, oops. And then I'm gonna elixir so I can survive the final enemy phase. So normally we won't be using swords in the run, but backup strats called for Marcia to take Ike's for friend sword.
She's fighting for her friend Ike. Gotta pay him back.
Something annoying on this map. I'm taking rescue penalties still. But, there's a skill later on that will remove these rescue penalties. So right now I have like 14 speed after penalties, and later on I'll get a skill that removes those penalties, but it's not for another 2 chapters or so, which is kind of annoying because I would have really appreciated to have that skill here.
Also, say hi to Har.
It's a quick cameo from the star of the next game.
If you didn't see the Radiant Dawn run last year, Har kind of carried half the run.
Yeah,
Half the run?
About half the
Yeah,
run,
about honestly.
about half.
because he wasn't in the other half.
Yeah, pretty much. But we're not gonna recruit him. Sorry, Har.
We have a $50 donation from Ryan Flesh. Fire Emblem Hype. Loved Gwimpage's run of Radiant Dawn last year, and I'm a big fan of Path of Radiance. Big hey from us from Serene's Forest Fire Emblem community.
Yeah, so that's for us. Cool. Yeah, shoutouts to Serena's Forest. Shoutouts to, let's see, what's the Reddit?
Our Fire Emblem. It's a pretty cool community.
Yeah, there's pretty much 2 common Fire Emblem communities. One of them is on serensforest.net, and it has a bunch of threads with active Fire Emblem players, just pretty much chilling or talking about strategies or just having a social time. And there's also a Reddit, as Gwimpage mentioned, our Fire Emblem, which is a pretty nice place to hang out in sometimes.
Okay, I have just enough uses to finish the map. And next chapter as well. I could forge my lance next chapter.
So that's a Flame Lance.
Yeah, it's not very helpful.
Yeah.
We're never going to use that weapon.
It's based off of magic, deals magic damage. It's not needed for.
I mean,
anything
imagine,
in the
imagine
speedrun.
that'd be awesome if it was a game with like zombies in it.
Okay, I'm going to forge my lance here, even though I don't.
Wrong
need
Fire
to,
Emblem.
Just to be safe.
What are you gonna name it?
What? I don't know.
There's another name you didn't use, I think.
Oh, that's right. Oh, donate. Rip. Okay, there we go.
Oliver, donate.
Oh, dang it.
We're
There we
giving
go.
Smite to Morim now, which we got a few chapters ago.
Just donate for Oliver.
If you appreciate art.
If you appreciate beauty.
Okay, there we go.
So the goal in this chapter is to arrive in the upper left corner, and there's a bunch of green units that are kind of defending themselves. And we want to really want to make sure we minimize the turn count for this, because the more turns we take, the more time we waste with the green units acting. So we're gonna try to 3-turn this map.
$50 donation from Jiggle Physics. G'day from Australia. Gotta donate during one of my favorite gaming series of all time, and can't wait for Fates to be released. Thanks for all you guys are doing. I love kicking off the year with AGDQ. Put this towards the Ocarina of Time Glitch exhibition.
Oh yeah, the new Fire Emblem Fates game is being released in North America next month, like February 18th. I'm pretty excited for it, even though I've already imported and played it. But
I haven't yet, so I'm excited for it.
I'm sure lots of people are excited to play. Get Conquest.
Team Conquest, huh?
Conquest is pretty fun, in my opinion. Anyways, we shoved Marcia and Racing just far enough so Marcia can reach the Parai point on turn 3. Oh man.
Hey. He's
Having
mad.
to assert dominance. We have just enough tiles. Like,
I think we got Maureen's opinion on the whole kill animals thing.
yeah. we can just like travel enough tiles to reach the ride point. It's like kind of right there. It's unguarded since allies are supposed to be defending it. Yeah.
Kenneth plays another role in this chapter where she's going to be visiting the upper right house. I think it has Savior.
Yes.
Yeah, it does have Savior. It's a really important skill that we need for some of the later maps.
As a reminder, Savior is a skill that lets you rescue your own units without taking any penalties.
Hey, that longbow. Nice.
Your longbows are kind of a unique weapon in this game, where you can attack from 3 range as well as 2 range. Obviously, we don't really use one, but it's kind of worth pointing out.
It's nice to have the option if you're using an archer in casual.
Yeah. See right there's a longbow.
Oh man,
What's
left him with 2 HP.
What's crazy is that fully promoted archers, which are called marksmen and Radiant Dawn, they can attack at 4 range, 3 range, or 2 range, I think. No, it's just 2 or 3 range, right?
Okay, so I moved Moram out of range. There's going to be a bunch of enemies closing in on my units at the starting position. By moving Moram 1 right to the side, I can barely like just get out of range of all these like scary enemies closing in.
Oh, we have 2 more units automatically join us. Lucia, who is a Swordmaster, and Bastion, who is another Sage. They're not too bad, but...
Yeah, they don't fly, they don't use staves, and
they
don't go fast. So we're not going to be using them.
Fortunately, they start just out of the way from all enemy unit
Yeah.
range, so we don't need to move them.
Although Lucia does join with an important item that I'm going to be taking off of her like right away. She joins with an item called the Lagoose Guard. It will haul damage from any Lagoose enemy that you fight. So it really improves Marcia's like survivability in the upcoming chapters.
Emily Murphy with a $50 donation says, my mother lost both her parents to cancer before she was 30. My donation goes out to her and all of the people that mourned loved ones and who are gone before their time. It's not easy to go through.
Okay, Savior obtained. There we go.
And I think we just got Joffrey, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeffrey is a paladin who is going to be used briefly in a little bit here.
So we're doing some setup for Jeffrey right now. And what we just traded him is the Night Ward. The Night Ward increases both your defense and resistance by 2. And Jeffrey is pretty darn bulky at this point in the game, and we haven't really had to put any investment into him, so his bulkiness will come in handy in the chapter after this.
This is
Save.
kind of an interesting map strategically because of these boulders that are all lined up along this ridge. You want to avoid having as many of them roll as possible because it takes a long time for each of them to roll. And this is a route map as well, so you need to get up and attack and kill all the enemies. Marcia's obviously going to do the bulk of the work, but everyone has at least some role to play here. You also get to see Khalil for a little bit.
Yeah. So each boulder at the top of the summit actually has like some sort of danger zone. It follows a pathway down the mountain.
Nice skill.
And, it will hit anybody along the way and deal 10 damage. But the more important thing that we want to avoid is the boulder animation. We have to slowly watch these potato-looking boulders like fly down the mountain, and it takes quite a while. So we want to avoid walking into the pathways of these boulders. So the enemy will also prioritize using the boulders over attacking anybody in range. So there's also that. This guy always like pushes his boulder, no matter what, even though he's
I love how it
hurting
just
his
like
friends.
stops there.
Yeah.
I like how he's attacking his own units.
I think it's meant as a demonstration of what the boulders do.
But he apparently doesn't fight for his friends.
Oh, now would be a good time for donations as well.
$50 from Snake Mom. Yo, Snake Mom from Sarnas Forest. Watching you guys smash FE9 right now. My dad's 2 bouts with cancer so far, and he's been winning them. Let's hope the money from this event helps people like him keep winning the fight. Put this towards saving the animals. Frames are for lanes.
Keep grinding that arena.
$20 from Malice. Hey guys, I thought I was going to miss the run I was looking forward to the most because of work. But I got to leave early and I'm here just in time to see Ike fight for his friends. Good luck, Gwimpage. Fire Emblem hype.
Oh,
Here
you're
we go.
God, so hard.
Thunder Forge.
Ugh, 44.
Yeah, I was about to say, well, this is why you can't really trust Khalil to take on too many enemies, but she just dodged it. She would have taken quite a bit of damage there if she hadn't.
The fun setup you could do with the glitch is to put Vantage on her.
Yeah. So what Vantage does, like Kirby mentioned a while ago, it makes it so you always strike burst, even on enemy phase. So in combination of Vantage and the critical forge glitch, you can just like strike burst with the critical attack and just like instantly kill an enemy before they even get to strike you. And it really works well because you can attack at 1 to 2 range, and like unless they have a longbow, like they're guaranteed to just get gibbed before they can even.
And even without the critical forge glitch, Vantage Wrath is a pretty strong combo with high crit weapons in this game.
It's a pretty popular combination. I've seen combinations of people putting Vantage on Nephany, I think, or Wrath on Mia.
Yeah, Wrath on Mia is the first one I did it.
Oh, that one's fun.
Yeah, there were several instances where powerful enemies would just line up to essentially do what they're doing with Marcia here.
I think my favorite skill combo in Radiant Dawn is with Mia, Vantage, Adept, and Corrosion. So she has a chance of attacking first on enemy phase, in addition to attacking twice and just breaking the enemy's weapon. So she can just break their weapon before they fight. And because Adept works on like speed stat, she has a good chance of doubling or like proccing Adept and just like breaking their weapon.
What's interesting is that most skills and a lot of skills in this game are procced by your skill, but they changed that a lot in Radiant Dawn. Like Adept, as Gwimpage mentioned, is activated with higher speed, but in this game, it's activated with higher skill.
Or Vantage, which always works in Path of Radiance,
Yeah,
but in Radiant,
Radiant
Dawn,
Dawn is
it's
just
the
simply
skill
a
percent, I believe.
chance.
It's speed, I think.
It's skill
Yeah,
or
it's
speed, I can't
speed%.
remember which.
Pretty sure
Is
it's
Adept skill percent and Vantage is the speed
A
percent?
lot of them are skill, most of them are skill, but that one might be speed. It would make sense as speed.
I don't quite remember off the top of my head. Because in Radiant Dawn, Vantage doesn't really become reliable anymore.
Yeah. Essentially when it happens. Cool.
This
Oh, hey.
bishop's trying to show us who's boss, but a little.
I love how matter of fact it is, just a huge lightning bolt.
You did defy me? Lightning bolt.
Unlimited criticals.
I actually slightly messed up this map strategy, but it's not a big deal. I'm gonna get an extra turn and there's no reinforcement, so it's like whatever. I was actually supposed to move Morim up behind Ike so he could get smited on this turn, and he would be able to move into the Swordmaster's range, and I got hit by the boulder. But I can just end turn and actually no, I could just go chase it and get him.
For my friends.
Alright, so now this is where the run kind of gets scarier because enemies
did
are
you
getting
save?
a lot.
Did you save?
I'm saving before the map
Oh,
starts.
okay.
Enemies' stats are getting a lot stronger now, and Marsha's been level 20 for quite a while now, so her stats have been the same.
So this is where the rescue staff comes into play. Alencia just joined our party. Her class is the queen, but she's basically a glorified Pegasus Knight with a staff. She's very weak, so she's pretty terrible for combat. Even though she has a unique sword that pretty much acts like a brave sword. So her main use is as a staff bot. She's going to be using rescue on Marsha here.
She's essentially a flying Valkyrie.
The only other unit in the game that can use staffs that's mounted is Mist, but she's at level 1 as a cleric.
Yeah,
And it's not until she class changes into Valkyrie that she
Yeah.
can do that.
So normally we could use the Lagoose to shove Marsha 3 spaces and do the same thing, but the problem with that is that the Lagoose units aren't flying, and they are probably not going to be transformed either, so they're not very mobile. And a bunch of enemies are going to go after them, and they're not going to be able to avoid combat.
yeah, this map is just wide open, and there's a lot of aggressive enemies that will move after anybody who's like in range. So I can't really like leave people around without like a good reason. Alencia is force deployed, so I have to carefully move her out of range each turn.
Yeah, you don't want to make Alencia be a ninja. Although that did happen in practice.
That's not happening here. Alright, so one of the reasons why this map is like so scary is because of the boss kill. I need to drop Ike on this turn so Marsha doesn't have the opportunity to heal. So this last enemy phase is going to be kind of scary because whatever damage I take here, I'm going into the final turn with it. And the boss actually does quite a bit of damage because, like, plot-wise, he's one of like Dane's generals, and
Oh, is this the Mystery Knight?
yeah, the
Yeah.
Mystery Knight.
So mysterious. Weird. Totally not recognizable green beard.
Yeah, can't be someone who's referenced in the plot before this.
All right, let's get Lindsay out of the way.
I was half hoping you forget.
Okay, here we go.
Come on, Ike.
Dude,
Nice.
Wow.
for my friends!
There's actually a way to 3-turn this map. I can barely drop Ike in range for a seize.
you just
but
totally
the boss
murdered.
kill is so unreliable because, first of all, Bertram starts with the rune sword, and on contact, whatever damage he deals, he heals back. So on the counterattack, if he lands his attack, he's just going to heal right back up, and you're unable to one-round KO him after that. So the strategy becomes really unreliable.
You just totally murdered that very noble amnesiac man.
Alright, so this is why the enemy phase kind of gets sketchy. I used to have Marsha fight Bertram, but that proved to be really risky, so I getting the boss kill, I suppose.
Basically, there's this entire chapter's risky.
But Marsha's already had a few good dodges. She also has the Lagoose Guard equipped right now.
Yeah,
Which
so
is
she's
why
taking
those-
half damage from these tigers, who would normally do a lot more to her.
Yeah, those tigers are very strong. They have really high strength when transformed, so they deal a lot of damage.
And their accuracy is pretty good because the Lagoose weapons, like their fangs or claws, whatever, they have decent accuracy, and they're kind of hard to dodge.
Yeah, there's actually a chance that Marsha can die there, but it's It's not negligible, but it's not huge either.
All right, we're coming up close to some of the later maps of the game.
This is like the climax of the game, pretty much.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Alright, so this is one of the scarier maps of the game. There's no other way around this. Like, there's just so much going on in this map. Alright, and we get to use Joffrey, who's like the best character ever. Alright, so I used to use Tanith on this map, but Tanith was pretty unreliable. Tanith isn't very bulky because she's a Pegasus Knight, and while she does have like a good dodge rate, it wasn't reliable to kind of bank on her dodging attacks to survive. So we're going to use Joffrey here. After stacking the Night Ward and Pure Water, he actually has a respectable resistance stat. So what the Night Ward does is it increases your defense and resistance by 2, and it stacks with like the Pure Water bonus, which is once again +7. So he's taking little damage from magic right now, and he's already bulky as it is. So it's pretty reliable for Joffrey to.
Yeah, the Night Ward is an item that you got with Astrid way back when, and it's only usable by Cavalier Paladins and
Knights, I think.
yeah,
Knights
Armored
and
Knights.
soldiers.
Oh yeah,
soldiers
soldiers
can use
can.
them too.
That's right.
Forgot about that. And Joffrey starts with a pretty respectable 18 defense, I think.
Yeah.
It's really high, honestly.
It's like he has mid 40s HP or something, and like 21 defense. It's like 43 HP.
So with
And
the
like
Night
21
Ward,
defense, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and
and
you get
also-
him for free. Like you didn't train him, you didn't like go out of the way to recruit him. He just joins.
And not only that, you notice him getting 2 XP for each time he's attacked as opposed to 1. That's because he has Paragon skill, which doubles all his experience gained, including bonus experience.
It's nice.
I'm not sure why they put Paragon on him when he's like a level 12 paladin or something.
Yeah, he's like a level 11 paladin.
Yeah, so he can only gain 9 more levels.
I guess it's a hint that you're reaching endgame.
It's like, oh, did you get screwed over a bunch of units? Here, have a free, really powerful unit here.
Yeah, you just get a lot of like really good units near the end of the game. Alright, so I dropped my door key. I actually need to keep the chest key around. Joffrey's gonna take it, and he's gonna use it to open a chest while Marcia continues on her charge to the Rye Pint.
Something to notice that Joffrey actually has the Brave Lance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is
He
nice.
was able to use it and avoid a counterattack from that mage. Oh, now would be a good time for donations.
Bjorn the Smexy with a $75 donation. Hey there, I've been watching all the GDQs since 2013, but this is my first time donating. I just want to wish every runner good luck, the audience to have a lot of fun, and cancer to be prevented forever. Keep making these awesome events for a good cause. Aeon Frodo with a $20 donation, wishing Gwimpage the best of luck on beating my favorite Fire Emblem game fast, putting this towards the Optimus Prime incentive.
I just noticed when Marcia was attacking the enemy, that little icon just stays in place. It looks really weird, like right there.
Yeah. And if she's poisoned or whatever, like that poison cloud stays like in place while she's like flying backwards. It looks kind of goofy.
Speaking of looking goofy, Gwimpage said something about the Pegasus tail that I will never be able to unsee.
Oh, what about those wings?
That tail.
The tail on the Pegasus? He compared it to a pool noodle.
Like flops in the wind. It just like
Oh my god, I
It's
can't
really-
unsee that. Why did you tell me that?
looks really goofy.
Huh, how about that?
Alright, so this is the second to last turn. This boss is a real big jerk. He's very bulky, and he has a Brave Lance, so his damage output is actually pretty high. And he has Miracle to top it off, so he has a chance of surviving. So I need to
Nice.
preferably kill him on enemy phase because I still need somebody to arrive.
Oh,
There we go, Miracle.
Miracle.
This
Yeah.
is why we engage him on enemy phase, so he can.
Magical mysteries.
So I get another chance at like defeating him next turn. So, and then Marcia still has her turn to like arrive, so it's all fine.
Yeah, and he's in the meantime going to grab the Resolve Scroll from one of the chests there, which is the other part of the Wrath combo that's going to happen later on.
Resolve's a skill where it acts similarly to Wrath, where it activates when you're at 50% of your HP or lower. What happens instead of boosting your crit rate is that it boosts your attack, skill, and speed stats by plus 50%.
Yeah, your strength, skill, and speed. And at a high level, like the boosts are like huge. Like
If you have 20 strength and you activate Resolve, you have 30 strength. That's plus 10 damage. It's pretty ridiculous.
okay, there's the resolve scroll, and here we go. No more miracle, please.
There you go.
Oh man.
Alright, this is the climax of the entire game. Ike versus the Black Knights.
Epic fight incoming.
Here we
It's
go.
the guy who
Okay,
killed
bye.
his-
Nope.
Yep.
It's the guy who killed Ike's father. You know, plots leading up to it as this huge fight. Speedrun. Discretion is the better part of valor because it's faster.
First in
far
Path
more-
Radiance, Ike flees from the Black Knight, and then in Radiant Dawn, he pulls out a hammer at the last second.
You're supposed to use a blessed weapon with the deity. Like deity blessed weapon. Nope.
Ike just doesn't like playing fair.
So when you encounter the Black Knight fight, which you just ran away from, Ike finally equips the Ragnell. The Ragnell is a really powerful sword, and it can actually attack at 1 to 2 range with physical damage. And for some reason, it gives Ike, I think, a plus 5 defense boost.
Yeah.
So it's really nice for durability. So Ike becomes a really powerful infantry unit, being able to counterattack almost everything. And,
Alright,
yeah.
plot-wise, like before we assault, like our final assault on the capital, we're gonna rescue Leanne, who's been held captive in this tower. We kind of sacked Morty. we don't need him anymore, and it's too slow to save him. So there's our only intentional death of the run. Rip Morty.
But he wanted to make peace with humans and Lagoos. Why would you kill him
His
off?
death quote's so sad too. I feel so bad for letting him die.
Could you kill off Morim instead?
No, I need more.
Yeah, you only need one of them, and Morim is.
All right, I have a
Much
small
healthier.
chance of getting put to sleep here. It's sub 20%, so hopefully that. Okay, good.
You deserve to be put to sleep for sacrificing Mordecai like that.
All right, the movement on these paladins is actually important. They need to get out of the way. They can't block my path, otherwise the strategy goes out the window. But yeah, they got out of the way. It's not unreliable. Like 99% of the time, they will get out of the way with this formation that I put myself in.
It's Fire Emblem, you never know.
Yeah. Alrighty, now would be a good time for donations.
Gabriel Wong with $20. AGDQ is the highlight of my winter. My grandmother was diagnosed with cancer last year, and it has affected us all. Thank you guys so much. Nice of you guys to spare Oliver. I'm sure one day he'll become a saint. Save the animals.
Indeed.
Oh. You see what you did there.
Tom Fox with $20. When you get right down to it, frames aren't going to save you in the cold vacuum of space. Save the animals now so Samus will have rations for later.
It's very pragmatic.
Another nice thing about the Ragnall is that it has unlimited uses.
Yeah.
Dragons hit very hard.
Yeah, this is the first time we've actually seen the Dragon Lagoos. They're really bulky and they're pretty fast, and they hit really hard. They're actually really tough enemies to take down, but since this map is a siege, we don't actually need to engage them outside of that one instance. So,
I was hoping Warren would get a crit there.
He can actually kill that cat with the critical. It looks really funny. Because this is base Morim. He joined like 15 chapters ago. And he can still kill enemies.
help!
Donate!
Help!
I love that guy's dialogue in English.
What was it
Edwin
again?
is just like the most confident boss ever.
Yeah, you get near him and he's like calling for help. And they actually type it, have it in there as HALP. I love it. Help.
So this is the final chapter with Ashnard. I guess we could just let this scene play out. I don't know.
Okay, there we go. Ike just talked to the army.
There we go. We talked to the army. Let's go.
Get hype.
We like Ike. Alright, so we just gave the Wrath Resolve combo to Ike. As a refresher, Wrath and Resolve both activate when your HP is below 50%. So Ike, when he gets hit by something, when his HP goes below half, he's going to get plus 50% critical boost, and a plus 50% boost to his attack speed and skill stats. So you might know what's coming up soon.
Yeah. So the strategy is actually really cool because one sec. Because we're going up along the side. So the big difference between the North American version and the Japanese version is once you trigger Ashnard to move after you, he actually becomes aggressive. He will move towards you and kill anybody in range. So if I were to go up the middle, I wouldn't have enough movement to get Marcia out of range to safety. So, oh.
Oh, you forgot to rescue Ike.
I was like, why can I?
Yeah, I was about to say.
I didn't even notice.
I didn't notice until now.
I noticed
I
it,
was
but
like-
I didn't want to say anything because I thought.
I was like,
Does he have like next level strats that he's just now revealing? What?
Yeah, these are the secret tech. The sub 2 hours. All right, so this time we won't forget Ike. Let's get him now. All right, there we go.
Something important to note is that Ashnard has blessed armor, so the only character that can damage him is that we have right now is Ike. I'm not sure if normal Lagoose can damage him, but the Royals that
Yeah,
join
the
later in
Royals
chapter
and your
can.
dragon can.
Technically Ina, but her
bad.
damage is terrible.
Yeah, you really need to dump a ton of resources into Ina just for her to even deal damage to Ashnard. Alright, so the big difference between North American and Japanese is Ashnard moves, and we need to move up to the side because there's a trigger line along the top half of the top portion of the map. And once I pass that trigger line, Ashnard will actually move towards me. But I need to keep Marcia safe because I want Ike to engage Ashnard, and I don't want Marcia to die. So we're gonna pass the trigger line, but we're also gonna drop Ike just in range of Ashnard, so they can have their final duel. All right, Lagoose Royal, who cares? Let's get these two out of the
Valencia,
way.
it's your turn to babysit Raisin.
Oh.
Yep.
All right, so wait, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
Right here. There we go. He's gonna move after me now.
Now you do need an actual crit against Ashnard.
Yeah. So we're gonna get hit hopefully, and we'll get put into Wrath and Resolve HP.
Okay,
Here
good.
we go. 50% times 2.
Okay,
What?
one more
There's
chance.
one.
One more chance.
Come on, one more chance.
Yes!
And that's time.
There we go.
When do you want to call time?
All right. After the save screen.
Oh,
Right
okay.
there. So get ready for time. Kind of feel bad for skipping all these really good cutscenes.
Oh, don't skip the Tororo cutscene.
Oh no. All right, and time. Pardon? Oh, cool.
205? It's really
Wow.
good.
Good job.
That's like 2 minutes off, right?
Yeah, that's like 2 minutes off of my PV. I mean, that.
Oh, hey. So Ike is gonna talk to all the groups from each,
Yeah.
everyone from each country.
Yeah,
We
all
only
these groups
recruited-
of people that he didn't recruit.
You only
And here
recruited
we
one person
go.
from Dane.
Lonely Tyrone.
Supposed to be like 5 people there.
We didn't recruit Jill or Har or anyone else from his country.
Soph.
Or Soth, yeah.
Yeah, you totally ruined the next game. You didn't even get Soph.
Who's he going to look up to now? Not
Right.
Ike, apparently.
I suppose that's it. Usually it would be kind of customary to show off the unit results, but unless we're kind of stuck about that because we need to watch a 30-minute epilogue to even view them, and we're not going to do that. So
I can summarize character
I
results.
suppose that's it. Yeah.
Arcia, bunch of trash. Ike, that's it.
Sounds about right.
Forgot to put in
Anyways-
Titania.
Anyways, I suppose that's Path to Radiance. Thank you for having me at AGDQ. I'd like to give a shout out to our Fire Emblem subreddit and Serenus Forest for being awesome Fire Emblem communities. There's lots of runs like this posted on Serenus and stuff, so if you want to check stuff out like that, go to serenusforest.net and stuff. Alright, thanks. And yeah. Thank you so much. Good job.
Well, if you want to get in those last-minute donations to Oracle of Ages, both for the pick your animal companion and the name of the file, now's your time. Right now, we're still topped at Iwata with about $800. And we're still topped off with Dimitri Dodongo for the animal companion.